first thing you're going to be wanting to do once you decide to play tennis is pick a racket, because if you don't have a racket, you can't really play tennis. So the main thing that gets people in trouble is once they decide they're going to play tennis, they have no idea what racket to choose. Tennis has tons of rackets that are built to accomplish specific things on the court, and it's very difficult as a brand new player to know what's best to suit you and the way you want to play. So in this video, we are going to break it down very simply to help you guys get on court and get playing. Welcome to today's Tennis 101, where we're covering picking your racket. So now that you've decided to play tennis and you're going out to pick your racket, you're going to have to look at a couple of factors that determine what racket suits you. That's going to be price point, that's going to be head size, and that's going to be weight. Those are going to be the main three things for any beginner player who's just now jumping on the court. Now, when it comes to price point, I'd say base your price point off of your level of commitment to the sport. If you're going to be playing a lot, it makes sense to invest more money in your technology of your racket. If you're going to be playing occasionally or randomly, like once every 3 to 4 weeks, then it's not that big of a deal. When it comes to head size, rackets can range from having super tiny head sizes to oversized head sizes. That's going to be dependent on your quality of strokes. So when it comes to head size, I recommend your first racket being right in the middle. The reason why I say go right in the middle is if you decide that you want to make any adjustments, you have plenty of room to go bigger or go smaller. So right in the middle is right somewhere in the 98 square inches to 100 square inches, because those are the most common frames, but rackets can go all the way up to 104, 110. It can also come down to 97, 95, or 90 if you go way back in time. So look for, if you're going to be brand new to the game, something with a 98 or a 100 head size. Now 98s, which I have here, like the Babolat Strike, which is the racket that I actually use, you have things like the Head Instinct, which comes in 100 or a 98, depending on your skill level. And you have all other types of rackets like the Wilson Blade, which has no strings in it. By the way, once you go into a certain quality, you will have to get your racket strung. I'm not covering strings in this video, but the point is, as you can see, there's tons of rackets that will suit those needs. So the other part that I said, we have head size and we have weight. Weight is going to be one of those things that's going to be subjective to two things. I say if you have any nagging injuries with your shoulder or your elbow or anything like that, then you want to stick to that mid-range to maybe even a little heavier, just to give you some sturdiness through the stroke. Lighter rackets require more grip strength, require more bracing, and then if you have bad technique, that shot can go right to the arm. Heavier rackets, moderately heavier. I'm not saying pick something that's super heavy. Moderately heavier rackets will just give you a little bit more stability at impact so that you don't get that huge shock through the arm. The racket head will probably travel through the ball a little bit more freely. So when I say weight, we have a range again. We have rackets can be anywhere from 9 ounces to over 12 ounces with weight additions and things of that nature. The weights that most beginners or recreational players are going to be looking at is somewhere between 10.4 and 10.6. You can find that printed on the side of the racket. All the information is usually laid out there: head size, weight, balance, grip size, and all of those things. So when you are picking your racket, if you're brand new to the sport, my recommendation is something 98 to 100 square inches, something 10.4 to 10.6 or 10.8, depending on your strength. And again, your price point is going to be determined on what quality of racket you will want, depending on your commitment to the sport. These rackets here range from anywhere from $160 to over $270, depending on what you want. But then there's rackets that you can get like this one here, which is a Head TI S6. This is actually one of Head's most popular selling rackets for recreational players. And this racket can be had for somewhere between $70 and $90, depending on where you go, whether it's Modell's or Dick's Sporting Goods or Walmart or anywhere like that. The one racket that I recommend that you stay away from, unless you're going to be somebody that's just out there poking the ball around with your kid occasionally, are titanium and aluminum frames. You can also find these at Walmart. They will go fine. So if you're planning like a family vacation to the beach and you're just going to go hit on a tennis court once or twice, these will work fine. But if you're going to be investing time and money into playing the sport, I recommend not even opening up with these rackets. These rackets are the cheapest option, but at the same time, you can get yourself into some tendon and muscle issues, if you start really going after your strokes and getting a lot of improvement, these rackets can transfer a lot of vibration, a lot of impact into the arms and joints. So I recommend staying away from these unless you're going to be a strictly once every 3 to 4 weeks or at the beach house or something like that. So that's going to wrap up today's Tennis 101. I hope it was simple enough. Remember, you have 3 factors. You have your head size, you have your price point, and you have your weight. There's other things that go into it, but if you're an intermediate and beginner player, you don't need to worry about the extra details just yet. In Tennis 101, we are going to be covering things that are for intro to tennis. So I hope this video was helpful. If anybody else that would benefit from this, please send it off to them. I will see you guys in our next Tennis 101.